Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to do something fun, and I thought since Mother's Day is only a week away from today, why not make some Mother's Day cards? I wanted to do some easy and fun watercolor tutorial with flowers, and I just decided to combine the two. Well, you can use these techniques for any cards, birthday cards, or whatever you want, or just for the simple artwork. You're not gonna need any fancy supplies. In fact, I'm using my Watercolor Confections Tropical set, and I'm only gonna be using 3 colors today. I will be using the cooler red, number 19, I will be using my yellow, number 21, and I'll be using my darker blue, number 23. I'm also going to be using a mixing tray. You can use the mixing tray that comes with the watercolor palette if you want to. 2 jars of water as usual, one for clean water, one for cleaning the brush. I'm going to be using just 2 brushes today. One is a larger one, one is a smaller one, and in fact, if your larger brush comes to fine points like this one, you don't even need the smaller brush. You can just use the fine tip for the details. For my paper, I'm using just a regular Canson XL watercolor paper. I just cut out the 7x10 sheets that I folded in 2. And you can use this as your card. You can use a pre-made watercolor cards, but since the art stores are all closed right now and there's not much time to order new sets, so I decided to use these. And I've prepared a few cards because I wanted to try out a few designs, and we'll see how that goes. Also, I'm going to be using some colorful gel pens or markers for signing my cards. And what else? And I'm gonna be using a Prismacolor color erase pencil just for mapping out the design, because first one I'm gonna do is a wreath, so I'm not really good with making circles freehand, so I'm gonna map it out first and then I'm gonna go with the watercolor. So let's start with the first design. So for the first card, I wanted to do just a simple wreath with a few flowers around it and some foliage. And I had an idea of signing the Happy Mother's Day lettering inside of the wreath. So I'm trying to make sure that I have enough space to sign. But if anything, you can just put a word mom inside a wreath, and then inside a card you can put a Happy Mother's Day card saying. So I'm just gonna make a simple circle, and you can always erase this later. Just don't do this with the regular wax pencils because those are not erasable. If you don't have Prismacolor color erase pencils, you can use just a regular graphite pencil. Just make sure you don't push it too hard, just leave a light mark. Okay, so for my colors today, I'm gonna start with getting a little bit of my red, and I'm using number 19 from this tropical set because it's a cooler red, and with the cooler red you just have a little more possibility with mixing different colors, because you can always warm it up and make a warm red when you add yellow to it. So here in another one, I'm gonna pick up some yellow and we're gonna make an orange. Oh, this one is just a warm red. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow for my orange color. And I like using this watercolor mixing palette because I can squeeze out the rest of the color that it's left in my brush so that I'm not wasting a lot of colors. And I'm gonna leave some yellow here for future mixes. And I'm gonna mix my green by mixing yellow and blue. And another advantage of using a limited watercolor palette, like I'm using 3 colors today, is that you're creating more harmonious watercolor palettes for your painting, and it just looks nice because these are all the same colors, and that when they mix together they already gonna look good together. And I'm gonna mix a darker shade of green. You can of course mix any color you want. You don't have to be very specific. So this can be anything you want. I'm just giving sort of an idea, an example. Okay, we got our darker blue, and I'm gonna mix a darker color for the details on the flowers. So I'm gonna mix sort of like a brown color by mixing all of the colors together. So I'm mixing my blue and yellow, and you see I'm getting green. And when I start adding red, the red is the opposite on the color wheel from green, so we're gonna start getting a brown color. Oh, this is actually very nice and colorful red, but I think I'm gonna add just a little bit more of blue so that we have a little darker color, but this one is nice. Alright, so these are all the colors I'm gonna be using, and I'm gonna leave this here. I will start with flowers, and I will start with, I think I'll put a larger flower here on the bottom, and I will put another smaller flower here on the top to just sort of level out my composition. And I think I'm gonna just warm up a little bit this red mix that I have here. Alright, so I'm not doing any specific flowers. These are just simple and fun and loose ones. So I'm just gonna do them with the simple brush strokes. And we're gonna create some variations in colors by either pushing the color to the inside, like here, or you can pick up some more of the fresh color and just leave it here on the inside. They don't have to be perfect. We're just doing a loose and fun tutorial today. Okay, and since I'm already using this color, I'm gonna put a matching smaller flower here. And I'm starting from the outer edge of the petal, because then I'm pushing my color sort of to the inside of the flower. And that creates a little bit of shadow inside and helps create more definition in the flower, so it's not looking too flat. And since I'm already using this color, I think I'm just gonna go around and put some more flowers. I think I'm gonna put here sort of a half open flower this side. And I'm gonna put some flower buds in here that we later can attach on the stem. I don't have any specific design in mind. I'm just sort of going with creating sort of a symmetry, but not a perfect symmetry. Just as long as the composition is looking nice, I'm good. Alright, so we have our flower parts. Now we can work on the foliage. So I'm gonna use my darker green for creating the branches. And you see I'm just using the fine tip of my brush here. You can use the smaller brush if you're more comfortable working that way. And I'm just trying to connect my flower buds at this point, just because you see it mixes the color a little bit, and this just kind of adds to the nice watercolor effect when the colors are mingling together. If you have too much going on, you can pick up a fresh brush and just put a little bit of the green back if you think that's too green for you. But these are flower buds, they're usually not fully open yet, so you still have a green part covering them. And I'm gonna put in a few more branches. I'm gonna put one going out this way, and I'll pick up some of my lighter green. I think I'm gonna make it cool it down a little bit. And I work with leaves in the same way. I start from the outer edge and then I push it in. And again, I'm not creating any specific leaves, I'm just sort of having fun with it. And you can, oops, I touched the flower. And you can leave a sort of a space inside of the petal, and that would help creating sort of a highlight on the inside vein. And I variate the intensity of my watercolors. I'm letting some of them to be more saturated, and some parts are less saturated, so that you have a nice variation of color. And on this side, I'm gonna go in the opposite direction. Alright, now I'm gonna actually take a smaller brush and I'll pick up some of this brown color that we have here, and I'll just add some details to the insides of the flower, just a few dots. Oops, too much. I'm gonna add a little more blue to the mix. I want to make this a little darker. And I'm gonna add a few sort of smaller flower details. You know what? I'm gonna mix a little bit of a sort of a light brown color. I'm mixing red, yellow, and a little bit of blue. Some more red in there. Okay. These will be sort of like light branches. Oops. And we're gonna put some yellow flowers in them. Okay, let me see. Let me make sure that I'm still in focus. I sometimes forget and I just start moving away from the camera. And how much to put in and where to place it, this is all a matter of personal taste. So just see what works for you. What do you like? And what looks good for your painting. This doesn't have to be the exact copy. I'm just putting a few colorful details sort of here and there. All right, and here we have our first sign. I'm gonna put a little bit of yellow here inside. I think just for kind of colorful spot. All right, I'm gonna let this one dry, and then I'm gonna do the sign on the inside of the wreath. I'm gonna sign Happy Mother's Day. Okay, while the first card is drying before we can sign it, we're gonna work on the next one. And for this one, I'm gonna make this a vertical design. Well, that can be vertical too, whatever you want. And I'm gonna block out the middle section where I'm gonna sign it. Okay, so I covered up the rectangle in the middle with tape, and it's not perfect. Anyway, it's not a perfect rectangle, but it doesn't have to be. And now I'm just gonna go around and put some flowers. This time I want to do some sort of roses, loose roses. So the way I usually do them is that I start with the most concentrated color, which is just the color that I have here in my mix. So I pick up that and I start with the very tip of my brush, and let me zoom in a little bit. So I'm gonna start with the center of the flower and just putting some sort of a small petals in there. And as I go out, I'm gonna make a lighter mix, and I'm actually gonna warm it up a little bit with my orange. So I'm adding more water because these petals will be sort of lighter in value. And you can even go around with a dry brush and just pick up some color on the outer sides of the petals. Like this, and then we'll put a little bit more of the color on the inside here to create sort of more shadow inside. So I'm just adding a little bit of color to the insides of the petals. Something like this. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. We're just making loose rows again. And I'm gonna put an orange one on this side. So again, I'm starting in the middle, and I kind of slowly start going out by making larger petals and also introducing lighter color. And this is why I like working with larger brushes, because you can easily go from very specific to very loose brush strokes. And I'll just pick up some of the color on the outside so that we have more definition on the inside of the flower. And I'm just putting small dots of paint just to create a little bit of the shadow between the petals. Yeah, like this. This is good. And in the same way, I'm gonna put some flower buds too. So I'm gonna put some here. It's a little too much water. And I'm gonna put some of the orange ones here on this side. Just don't want to pick up too much water. And you know what? Maybe I'll just put some wildflowers here, just for creating more interesting composition. Oops. And there's nothing specific about these flowers. I'm just trying to have some fun with them. Let's put some flowers on this side too. Let's clean up this. It's gonna become a little muddy. I'm gonna have to clean out my water in a little bit. It's starting to create very muddy mixes. And you notice that I like to add details while the colors are still wet, so they sort of mix a little bit with each other. But if you like to have more sharper details, you can wait until one color dries and then add them, but I don't really mind these cute mixes that we get. And now let's add some leaves. So I'm gonna remove the tape and let it dry, and then we can sign this one. Oh, there you go, and you have a nice frame where you can sign the card. Okay, let this one dry and I'm gonna do another design. Okay, so for my last one, I've decided to do a loose peony composition with a few peony buds, and I've cleaned out my water. I got some nice clean water in my jars because I want this color to be really nice and vibrant for my peonies. So I'm starting with the same red color, and I'm actually going to map out the composition. I want to have a larger peony here in the corner, and I think I'm gonna have one peony bud here and one maybe sort of a larger one here, and I will sign it in this corner. I'm just gonna put my leaves in there for the peonies. Let's see how that looks. Alright, I think that's good. Okay, so I'm starting with more concentrated colors, and I'm starting with the center. And again, just remember that this is a very loose painting. This is very loose color, and I'm making one of these I don't remember what they call, but this one of these peonies that has sort of very small fluffy petals on the inside and larger petals on the outside. So I'm just putting small marks kind of resembling the petals, but again, I'm not being very specific with how I'm putting them, and I'm varying the intensity of my paints just so we kind of have more depth, because these lighter petals will look like they kind of farther away, and the darker petals will look like they're closer or just sort of a deeper in there. And just remember that they all going out from the center, even though it looks like a lot of chaos is going on in there. They all coming out from the center. So now I'm gonna pick up a little bit of paint and sort of more water, and I'm gonna do the outer petals. So I'm just gonna use the same brush, but I will create it so it was the flat motion. I'm just gonna put it flat against the paper, starting from the inner side and going out, sort of like this. See, oops, spilled some, that's okay. And the same for this one. And I'm gonna put just some more in here. And they don't have to be perfect circles. The peonies kind of have this chaotic, very recognizable pattern. I'm just gonna add a little more water to push it a little bit more and let it kind of mix a little bit. And let's put some details on the inside here and let the colors kind of travel and do their thing. And there you have just a simple peony. Now let's do the flower buds. I'm thinking this one will be sort of like a half closed. So I'm just putting my red color, sort of pink color, and I'm gonna pre-mix some more of green, and I'm gonna do 2 mixes again with lighter green and a darker green. Okay, and while this peony is still drying, I'm gonna do these covering petals. And again, it's okay if they mix. It actually creates even nicer effects when they mix. Put one going out there. I'll put one going out this way. Here. Okay. I'm thinking I'm adding a few more petals here just to create a more round shape. actually gonna pick up some more saturated color and add some darker details. This is the same red color, just a little, I would say, thicker paint. Alright, this is good. Now put some more highlights. Just to blend this petal. Okay, and my other flower bud is actually going to be more open. And there we have our painting. And I'm gonna let this one dry now, and we're gonna sign it on the top here. Okay, now that our cards are dry, we can start signing them. And I actually decided to make this read card vertical because I think just that the wording will be spaced better in the way. But you can do it either way. This is just a matter of your personal preference. I decided to add a little bit of fun glitter details, and I'm using what is this? This is a Uniball gold pen. I don't think it has a size. Oh, this is 1mm size. So this is the pen I'm gonna use for some fun golden glitter details on the leaves and the flowers. This is just a little fun detail. I hope you can see it well on the camera. If not, I'll just take a better picture of this in the end. And I'm also gonna sign it with this gold pen, but before I sign it, I just want to mark down where I want to place my words. So I'm gonna say about here, and it will say Happy Mother's Day, and happy will be on top, and I think I want to put mothers sort of at an angle and then the day on the bottom like this. And this is a Prismacolor color erase, so this is a totally erasable pencil. You don't have to worry about it. You can erase it after your pen dries. Sure, this is dry. I don't want to smudge any of our details. Okay, so dry. Again, just like with the flowers, this doesn't have to be done perfectly because this is from you, this is handmade. So we're not trying to be extremely precise. I'm just gonna go over and add a little bit of thickness to some of the letters. Yeah. And there we have our card. And let's finish the rest of them. So for this one, I've decided to actually do a red metallic glitter pen. This one, you can use any pen. And first I wanted to frame actually our inner rectangle. So let me just grab a ruler. And I think I'm gonna add some details to this one too. Alright, and I'm gonna do this in the same way. I'm going to just sketch where I want to place my words. I'm gonna put mothers same way, sort of at an angle. And there we have another card. And we just have one more left. Okay, so now that this one is dry, we can sign this one too. And I'm gonna put it a little bit different composition. I'm gonna say happy here. I think I'm still gonna put mothers on an angle and a day here. Put another detail there. Alright, once the glitter is dry, I'm gonna erase my pencil marks, and you can sign on the inside whatever you want. You can even create a matching flower on the inside, sort of matching compositions. This is totally up to you. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this fun little tutorial, and I hope it inspired you to create something for your moms or your grandmas or your cousins or sisters or anybody special in your life. And if you did make some cards, I would love to see them. Please feel free to tag me on Instagram. I will leave all of my information down below in the description box, and I'll be happy to see your creations. And have a nice day. See you in my next video. Bye.